everybody, welcome to WhyBuy. Let's talk about Dead Cells for the Xbox One. So the reason I love Dead Cells is it reminds me of a lot of retro games. It's a 2D action game. Reminds me of kind of the art styles of Castlevania with similar gameplay, but this one is just so fast paced. And I think that's the greatest thing about it, is that it borrows a lot from those genres, but it remains true to itself. And I actually found Dead Cells through Xbox Game Pass. It's a subscription service for Xbox, and they offer, I think it's a couple hundred games they have in their catalog right now, and you pay a monthly fee and get to download whatever you want. And when I looked at the trailer for this game, I thought, I have to play this. It looks so cool. So, well, the reason it's called Dead Cells is because you die a lot in the game, and you collect these cells. And what these cells do is they provide permanent upgrades to your player. And the reason that's important is because every time you die, you start at the beginning of the game, which can be frustrating sometimes, but you learn to live with it. Now you can buy upgrades with your cells where you can keep some of your money, have more health, and even upgrade your weapons so that as you play through, your chances of dying become less and less. At first glance, this may seem like just a regular hack and slash game, but let me tell you why it's not. If you play that way, you will die. What you need to do is customize your loadouts for your playstyle. For instance, if a trap causes an enemy to bleed and a sword takes advantage of that bleeding by causing more damage, you're gonna wanna combine those. And that's just one example of the hundreds that Dead Cells does. They have poison attacks, they have bleeding, burning, and all these things can be combined to, create monstrous damage to targets. It's really important to recognize your enemy's attack patterns because you have basically two ways of combating that. You can either dodge roll out of the way, which makes you invincible for that amount of time, or if you have a shield in your loadout, you can parry it, which deals damage to the enemy, as well as protects you. One of the most satisfying things in Dead Cells that you do is smash the ground. If you hold down and jump, you do this fast-paced drop that can annihilate a bunch of enemies. Every time you die in Dead Cells, you start back at the beginning, in the prison. And from there, you crawl through that level, and there's multiple different branching biomes, they call them, that you can go to. And another thing is they're all randomly generated. So every time you go in the game, the level will never be the same. The enemies usually are, unless you're going on a different difficulty, but the layout is always different. When I was a kid, I played a lot of games, and I really appreciated all the details that went into them. The soundtrack was epic, the gameplay was fantastic, and there were boss battles. There's not a lot of boss battles in games nowadays, but this one has them in droves. My favorite boss in the game has to be the Giant. You go into this pit and you fight him. He's just got his two big hands that both attack you at the same time. And that was actually a DLC too. It wasn't in the original game, but it was added again after. The developer's Motion Twin. They will continually send out free DLC for the game. When you beat the game the first time, when you beat the Hand of the King, you get something called a boss stem cell. Now what you do is you apply that to your next playthrough, and what that does, that increases the difficulty. I'm in the middle of trying to beat it on 2, but sometimes it's pretty disheartening when you get to the very end and you've spent so much time and you die and you start back at the beginning. Because it's tough, man. It's tough. As frustrating as that can be, it feels even more rewarding when you're finally able to do it. There's no games that I've played recently that give you that kind of satisfaction. My favorite thing about Dead Cells is how smooth the gameplay is. Once you learn your enemy's attack patterns and build the right loadout, you feel like a god. You're just ripping through enemies, they're going down, the cells are just collecting, and you're unlocking a ton of weapons. To me, Dead Cells is one of the greatest indie games out there. It combines smooth gameplay with customizable loadouts and a difficulty that can't be matched with any other game I've played to give you a one-of-a-kind experience. If you thought this video was helpful, please like and subscribe, show your support, and thanks for watching. Your loadouts are important. You're gonna want to combine those because it hurts them more.